her some of her documents if she needs to reference with her. She can get them to
As
it.
long as they're all provided to us, I don't know, bro.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Just have a seat. May I proceed here? Mr. Mercer, I'd like to show you what we labeled as exhibit number 3. You could take a look at that, please. Okay, you look at all pages of exhibit 3, please.
Yes, sir, I mean, I don't have it memorized, but I'm familiar with it.
Okay, and why are you familiar with these?
Because, they were sent to, myself, or organization, my husband, sister property, or franchisee, which,
And these were emails provided to the city in the course of discovery, correct?
yes, sir.
And you recognize these emails to be fairly accurately depict what they purport to be emails that you yourself received?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Is it this one? Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's just the extra. That's the one that I was thinking.
Your Honor, for exhibit number 3 in the evidence,
No objection.
without objection, Judge, I'd offer exhibit 3 in the evidence.
Sorry, I have no idea what it,
Um,
I don't have a three up there. Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
So I,
Okay. Ms. Mercer, you had received these emails, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you received these emails on or about Wednesday, November 11th? Is that correct?
I'll have to look at the dates, it's been several years ago, and I don't remember off the top of my head.
Okay.
But I'm sorry, I can. So, if this is what I submitted, then this is correct. Again, I don't have the dates memorized, because it's been several years ago, but,
Well, it's in evidence, but you've testified that you recognize the email, correct?
yes, sir.
Okay. You know Mr. Brian Bloodsworth, correct? And he's here in the courtroom?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How exactly do you know him?
He was an employee of our company for, a while, and
All right. Did you have direct contact with Mr. Bloodsworth?
I did, I worked, with him at the organization.
Okay. And what kind of contact did that entail regarding your role in Mr. Bloodsworth and his employment when he was at Taco Sombrero?
Well, I handled human resources, and, I worked there at the company doing various positions as needed.
Okay. One of those positions is a human resource manager, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and people will contact you regarding employee issues, complaints regarding employees or other employees, correct?
right.
And this email is directed at you, correct? As an HR manager?
Yes, he also sent an email as well, in addition to HR. And he was also referencing my marriage in addition to HR issues as well. So personal issues were in fact involved, and he also, contacted me personally.
Okay. Your Honor, may I offer exhibits 1 and 2 to the witness?
what are you looking for?
Those two, Judge. All right, I'm gonna show you what's already been entered into evidence, exhibits 1 and 2. Okay, so exhibits 1 and 2.
right?
Okay. You're also familiar with these emails?
Yes,
Okay. Did you receive any of these emails directly yourself?
I did.
Which ones did you receive?
It contains the same information technically, I mean, pretty similarly stating that he was fired for, to cover up an affair and, sexual misconduct allegations against Danny Mercer. When in fact he was fired because of a sexual harassment claim filed against Mr. Bloodsworth. Mr. Mercer never had any sexual harassment, claims against him. I terminated Mr. Bloodsworth because after the sexual harassment claim against him was made, he was instructed that it was under investigation and to cease contact because it was unwelcome and unwanted with the person on the harassment case against him. He unfortunately continued to contact that person, which, as most people would understand, resulted in his termination from his position. We had a moral and legal responsibility to protect our employees from that type of predatory behavior. And so that's what we did. And, Mr. Bloodsworth retaliated. We immediately got an investigation from the health department, and they told us that they felt strongly that.
I'm gonna object to anything about the health department, that's not what we're here on.
Yeah,
That has nothing to do with the case that we're in.
We're only asking you about something that you have personal knowledge of, okay? Only what you've seen and what you've heard.
Okay.
Not what other departments and everybody else has told you, okay?
Okay, well, we
So-
did receive that complaint,
Well, Mr. Bloodsworth was terminated, correct?
yes.
Okay. And when was that termination?
I don't remember the date, again, it's been years ago, I'll have to look it up, and it'll take me a minute to find it, but,
They should be refreshed to remember regarding that termination
Sure.
date.
Absolutely. We knew we were gonna be here, termination was a big issue.
I have it, I'll just have to,
I got
there's
it.
so
That's
many
no problem.
evidence here, a lot of which we're
We're all
not
set.
allowed to talk about today,
We're all
but
set.
unfortunately, but a lot of it we can, so let me find that information, please, and I'm sorry for the delay, y'all, it's just, there's so much stuff here to go through, and I wanna get it right. I'm sorry, like I said, I didn't know dates would be such a,
Well, do you remember approximately when it was, what year?
2019,
Okay. So sometime in 2019,
it's a long time ago.
and then after his termination, are you aware of any contact with yourself that Mr. Bloodsworth or your company that Mr. Bloodsworth had after that termination?
Yes, these emails began,
The emails, we'll ask you about the emails in front of us right now, right?
right, they came to myself, they came to the organization, they came to our sister property,
And that
they came to
was
my personal
beginning-
and my human resources
Okay,
address.
what we're looking at the evidence right now is these emails came in, the judge has seen, that began October 19th, 2020, correct?
I believe so.
And then we had some additional emails in November of 2020, correct?
No, those emails, I don't think so, not after we.
Well, we're not getting into other emails and any other further. Okay?
Okay.
We've presented the evidence that we have regarding the emails. From the time of Mr. Bloodsworth's termination up until this October emails, basically, as far as you know yourself, or Taco Sombrero didn't have any contact with Mr. Bloodsworth. Is that a fair enough statement?
Until when? I'm sorry, between the.
On or about October 19th of 2020.
That's about the time it began, the harassment, when his court
Well,
order was lifted from his.
My question is, between his termination and then there was no contact that you're aware of, correct? By Mr. Bloodsworth?
Not to us, he was harassed.
Okay. Regarding these emails, do you find anything lewd, lascivious?
Absolutely if you wanted to.
Objectionable, well, the judge has them, you don't have to read them. If there's certain parts in it that you find to be obscene, lewd, lascivious,
Amanda Casso informed me she performed sexual favors in exchange for money for Danny Mercer. I was disgusted by her. That was one, and that's just in the emails for one example.
and you're referring to this on exhibit 2, correct?
Mhm.
You have two others in front of us. How about exhibit 1?
Just for the benefit of both council, I'm looking at, 972945, and I'm looking at, paragraph 6. Earlier, I ruled that, phone calls while he was in Key West were admissible. I'm gonna reverse my ruling. You can call him back to the stand at the conclusion of this witness.
It says exactly what you said. Any person violating this section may be prosecuted in the county
In the county,
with a telephone call, conversation originates
or received.
or received. He said he was in Key West, Florida.
That's where he was when he received the call.
That's right.
All right?
So how does that generate to Harrison County? There's been no testimony that my client,
That's why I'm allowing him to, I'm reversing my ruling so he can see if he's able to show that Mr. Bloodsworth was in Harrison County.
he already was asked that. He didn't know where the call was coming from. It said a Jamaican number. That's already been addressed, correct? This is your exact ruling. You said,
Well, just a minute.
Yeah, I don't have any further allegations from phone calls to Ms. Mercer.
no, but even with him,
That's correct.
he's not gonna testify where they came from because he doesn't know.
I'm not
Correct?
witness though, she was in the phone call to Biloxi.
Well,
Okay. He's made his point, you've responded to it. I'm still reversing my ruling. You've indicated that you're not able to show where the calls were originating from.
Yeah,
that's correct.
So it's
I thought this was your ruling.
It's gonna be immaterial.
That's correct.
yeah. I thought that was your ruling, you know, yeah.
I
Either from or to,
I
yeah.
don't have a way to prove where they were coming from, or
Yeah.
where they originated.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Okay. And Ms. Mercer, in regards to exhibit 1, at least as you read this as an HR, I'm sure you got a lot of complaints, correct, from a lot of people?
Not like this, no, not with these lewd, really just disgusting type of allegations and comments contained in here, no. Nothing like this. This is pretty serious, and it obviously has intent to harm, and it was sent electronically.
Well,
It's lewd.
Okay, let me stop you there. These communications were received, was it at least a year since, at least as of October 19th, that had been approximately at least 1 year since Mr. Bloodsworth had been terminated?
Right, as soon as the court order was lifted, that he.
No, I'm not asking you that question. As far as him being terminated, it was probably about a year before HR received this complaint.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if there was a grievance, how quickly in your course of an HR representative, a complaint's usually made after an offense has occurred or a grievance has occurred involving an employee?
Right away, typically, or at least within 30 days, I would
Okay.
see, you know, if there's a problem, a pretty quick response, you know, to that issue. And as a matter of fact,
Well, let me ask you this. Have you had any other occurrences, an HR manager where somebody's complained about somebody working Taco Sombrero a year after an incident has occurred?
no, never. And as a matter of fact, I was very surprised because
Well,
Mr.
let me-
Bloodsworth came into our company, shaking hands and smiling, and presented himself as a friend, asking for our assistance in his case that he had ongoing, where Amanda Cassidy held similar charges to what is going on today against him.
The judge has already made some rulings regarding Ms. Casso's case, okay?
Okay.
I'm just gonna keep it to what we have in these emails, the evidence.
But that's when it started, is as soon as that order was lifted a year later, it began.
We brought those things up with the judge, okay?
Okay.
But as far as dealing with you, was there any surprise prior to that, that you were the HR individual and Mr. Bloodsworth, in fact, knew that when he was an employee?
Yes.
Okay. And this emails were received over a year after termination of his employment?
Right.
Okay.
And I did conduct an investigation anyway at that point, once the emails were submitted. I interviewed all the women mentioned here, all of which in writing have formally denied.
I'm gonna object to any writings that are being testified to that were not provided to us.
I'll stick with that, it's.
Okay, well, I'll just give my testimony then. I spoke to these women myself.
I'm gonna object to anything that the women told me, it's hearsay.
Well,
You think it was said to her, it's hearsay.
let me ask this question, this is what I'm asking. Not asking what anybody told you, but based on your investigation, did you learn anything?
I had only reassured information that I already knew, and that was the only information, the only sexual harassment charges were against Mr. Bloodsworth, and none were made.
I'm gonna object to sexual harassment charges against Mr. Bloodworth, because there are none. There have never been any sexual harassment charges against Mr. Bloodworth. This is the second witness that's been on the stand alluding to sexual harassment. There's no sexual harassment, there's harassing and threatening phone calls that was dismissed. It's exhibit, I think,
I
3 or 4.
He's not charged with that, and I think you're looking to strike the testimony, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm not opposed to that, Judge, regarding that issue. And,
Shall I rephrase?
well,
There was a complaint.
okay, we're not dealing with. Okay. When you conducted your investigation after receiving this email, did you learn anything to confirm the allegation?
Absolutely not.
Okay, fair enough, we'll leave it, all right? Not referring to the allegations with your husband, somebody.
Right, I would not be in here in defense of my husband today if any of the allegations against him were true. I can tell you that, I have cameras in the store that I have access to monitor what's going on when I'm not there. The only behavior that, I've seen that was inappropriate was, was from Mr. Bloodsworth. I'm not sure what the other.
All right, fair enough. There were some questions. People hire a lawyer for lots of different reasons, correct? And you and your husband hired Mr. Hollister, one of his firm at some point in time. And we can't get into the communications and what it was all about, correct? But people hire attorneys for a lot of different reasons. You may have had claims against you, your husband, your company. You could have had other allegations involving this, but by and large, Mr. Holliman became involved somewhere around July of 2021. Is that fair enough? Okay.
We were just,
Well, I'm
to
not,
the point
let's
that
just,
we're trying to just get peace.
let me stop you there. People hire lawyers for lots of different reasons. Your communications with your lawyers and why you hired them, and you and your lawyer, correct? But as far as you hiring them was on or about July of 2021?
Yeah.
Okay. Your Honor, I'll tender the witness.
You stated a minute ago that the content of the emails that you were sent, exhibits that you saw, that they were lewd. You understand the definition of lewd?
I think I do.
What is it? What's your definition of lewd?
I think that, sexually gross, I don't know, I'm not a Webster dictionary, but, I think.
You
I
used the
think
term, that's why I'm asking.
I think that they, let's see, let me think of a synonym for lewd,
I just want your definition. You use the word, so I'm just asking you what it means to you.
I think that it's sexually inappropriate, how about that?
Follow me? So are you saying that the mere fact that it was written in an email is lewd, or is it the fact that your husband is being alleged, or these allegations were being made against your
I
husband?
think that the things he's saying, consider they're not true,
Well-
or rude things to say,
But he says,
especially when they're false.
is he not communicating that someone told him of these things? Is
Yes,
that-
but-
that's not what the email
But when
says?
it's a lie,
Well,
and,
he doesn't know it's a lie, does he? Does he know it's a lie, man?
yes, he does, and
He does.
He does, and let me tell you why. You asked
Okay.
the question, let me answer.
Can't wait.
He states in his own words that Amanda Casso, and this, told him she was joking. I was disgusted by her.
What are you
She
reading?
claimed
What are
to
you
be
reading?
joking. His
Well,
email in his own words,
Let's,
he said,
let's,
Amanda Casso,
What email is this?
this is the email that he sent to me, where he
I know,
said
it's okay.
that
Let's
she
just calm
told him
down.
she was
I'm gonna
joking.
let you testify.
So he knows it wasn't true.
Just tell me what the date was, October 19th? That's Exhibit A, Your Honor. Exhibit A, it says what?
It says, she told me she was joking, yet he proceeded to make these allegations, even though in his own words, he says, she told him
What was
she
the
was
date?
joking.
What was the date on the email?
October 19th, Judge.
Okay.
I think that's, exhibit one.
Exhibit
Your Honor.
1, yeah, I'm sorry. So he provides in the same email you say is lewd, he provides all the information he was provided, which is that she was joking. But he went on to communicate exactly what she said, correct? So he didn't leave anything out. Are you speaking about the second paragraph?
I'm sorry, I'm having to reread this, it's like,
Okay.
it's been years ago.
Or give me a moment.
I began to suspect that I was being fired for learning of Amanda and Danny's sexual relationship, as I had learned just a few weeks prior, as well as it being one of the issues that strained me and Amanda's friendship. That's a lewd allegation, that's not why he was fired, that's very formally documented why he was fired. He was fired because of the sexual harassment complaint against him. He was told to stop, it was unwelcome and unwanted, he decided to continue the behavior, and so that's why he was fired. That's very well documented. You have the documents in there of the complaint against him and why he was fired, so that he's saying that he was fired because he was having an affair, he discovered it. That's a lie, it's a lewd and terrible allegation to make.
It's his
When it's not
belief.
true.
Is it his belief or not?
It's not the facts.
Is it his belief?
I don't know what he believes,
Well-
but it's not the facts, and he knows it's not the facts because he was given the documentation.
Have you ever
It's very
heard-
well documented. He knows that's not why he was fired. So, yeah, this is false, it's lewd, it's like electronically sent.
Oh, I mean, you've read the statute. You named everything in the statute.
Yeah, that's why when we came to file charges.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Do you know what pretext is?
No, I don't.
You don't? Have you ever heard of a company firing someone and saying you didn't do a good job, and then that person, maybe they're 57 years old, and they sued the company for age discrimination and win a lot of money? You ever heard of that happening?
No, I don't.
You haven't?
I don't know.
You're in HR at Taco Sombrero. You run the human resources, correct?
Yes. Am I on trial?
I'm asking you questions. Well, we can get there later, but right now I'm asking you questions related to your HR department. You're the HR department head, right?
Pretext is what you asked me.
Ma'am, I'm asking you a new question.
Okay, what's the new question?
You're the HR department head for Taco Sombrero. Is that
I
correct?
wouldn't say department head, I handle HR.
Who is that department head of
That-
HR
that
for
would
Taco
be-
Sombrero of the two businesses
That
that
would
you
be
and your
our
husband own?
corporate office.
No, ma'am.
And I think.
The two businesses that you and your husband own.
I handle HR issues,
Who else is ahead of you that handles
our
HR?
corporate department. big
And they
department.
own the two businesses that you and your husband run?
We're a franchise from them.
I understand that. Do they run the employees at the two businesses that your husband testified you and him run together?
No,
So you, for the two businesses y'all run together, are the HR head honcho, correct?
I handle the issues.
Does anybody else handle the issues above you?
No,
Okay. So as human resources department head, you're telling me that you're not aware of things like age discrimination?
oh, of course, that's not what you asked me.
I just described an age discrimination
You
suit.
said pretext.
Yes.
I don't know what you mean by that.
When someone gets fired or terminated from employment, and their employer communicates that the reason is A, but the real reason is B or C,
That's
and
not
that's,
true.
and that's proven later in a court of law possible.
It won't be here.
Ma'am,
Because we have-
I'm asking you if you ever heard of pretext. That's what I asked you earlier.
Not in that, the word pretext, no, but
Okay.
I'm familiar with the scenario that you're presenting.
You are.
Yes.
And so you fired him and you say it's for, I think it was put in down as, he had a inappropriate
So it's a
communication.
claim that he made a racial slur and sexual misconduct. It's in here if you want me to read it.
Oh, no, I've looked at it.
Okay.
And it's something about insubordination, I think, was in there as well, right?
I'll have to look back on that, but the.
Well, but
let me-
in his mind,
I
he
can't speak
believes,
to what's in his mind.
well, based upon the emails that you received,
This is what's in writing.
yes.
Yeah, that's
And
what I'm.
he wrote that from his mind
Okay.
and from the information he received from somebody else. Is that correct?
He did, and he submitted it electronically knowing that it was false.
He knew it was false.
Yes, he knew it was false.
How did he know it was false?
Like I said,
Yeah.
in here, he says she claimed to be joking.
Where does
for
it say
one
that?
thing. In the second paragraph,
Yes, where's it
she
say?
claimed to be joking.
Where is it?
In the second paragraph, in the second line.
I was disgusted by her, so she claimed to be joking.
Yeah, so she told him that, these allegations.
I later discussed the issue with her again, and she stated that she had to make money for her trip to Vegas somehow. And he quoted that that's what he was told by her. Then it states, and continued to play things off as a joke.
There you
When
go.
I told, so he's telling you all the information so that you have to
Right.
investigate, right?
Right, but yet later here,
Yes.
in the same email that he sent electronically,
Mhm.
he continues with the allegation,
Yeah.
even though he was told it was a joke.
The allegation from the individual,
Right, no, his allegation,
no ma'am,
right here.
it
Let
was
me read
provided
it
to
to
him
you.
by someone else, correct?
And let me read it to you again. And she told him she was joking.
And he told you that, he didn't hide that.
Yeah, she told him he was joking, yet he continues his allegation.
As HR director, head of HR,
I never.
do you want, ma'am, I'm asking you a question. As HR director, do you want,
Okay, I handle HR issues, but yes.
Ms. Mercer, you have to let him answer the question.
Yes,
before
sir,
you
I'm
answer.
sorry.
do you want employees or former employees to provide you with every bit of information so that you can make an informed and intelligent investigation?
Absolutely.
If you allow me to finish and then
Yes,
answer.
sir. I thought you were asking me.
I am asking you, do you want your employees or former employees to provide you with every bit of information they have on a particular issue so that you can make an informed and intelligent investigation into the matter?
Absolutely. but
So
I
what
don't-
is the issue
Don't cut
here?
her off.
I'm sorry.
Absolutely, I want them to give me all the information, and he does that here, and if he had stopped there, then maybe that would have been okay.
Stop where?
Where he said, says what she said,
Okay.
but he continues later in this email, the same email, after he was told that she was joking, in other words, the information is not true. What he was told was not true, she told him she was joking, he says that in his own words.
Okay.
He continues on with his allegations.
Where?
Let's read that again.
No, I saw that part. What's the part that you said? So you're telling me, I want to get to the part of this email that you consider to be lewd, because you just said the beginning is fine with you. So which part is lewd?
Okay, let's go back to that. Just give me a moment, I'll find it
Sure.
again. Right here is where he says he continued to contact her after you was told. He said I was upset and I didn't know what to do, so I reached out to Amanda to beg her to tell the truth. After.
And is that lewd? To
No,
communicate that to you?
I'm sorry, that was an
Okay.
issue.
Let's
I'll
continue
get back to
on.
you- I'll get back to your question.
Yes.
I began to suspect I was being fired for learning of Amanda and Danny's sexual
Before you get too
relationship.
far, can you show me where that is?
It's in paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Paragraph 6, I was upset, I didn't know what to do, reached out to Amanda, begged her to tell the truth.
And is that lewd?
No,
So just so I'm clear.
I'm not finished.
Okay,
I'm reading
just so I'm
more.
clear. Everything before that, you don't consider to be lewd.
I didn't say that.
I'm asking you.
Well, let me reread it and then I'll answer your question.
Okay.
Because I'm not gonna tell you that I don't consider any of that to be lewd.
I'm asking you right now, which portions of this document you consider to be lewd?
Okay, let me read that to you.
Okay,
That's where
read
I
every
was.
sentence.
Okay.
That's lewd.
I began to suspect I was being fired for learning of Amanda and Danny's sexual relationship.
Ma'am, before you move on, I'm asking you to go in chronological order from top to bottom and provide me with every sentence that you believe is lewd.
I was trying to.
Okay, so you're on paragraph 6, right?
Yeah.
So everything prior to this is not lewd, is that
I mean,
correct?
I consider it to be lewd, but
Which, I'm asking you, so,
especially knowing that it's
No,
not
ma'am.
true. But
ma'am, I asked you to provide me in chronological order from top to bottom. What is lewd?
I'm
You're
reading-
starting at paragraph 6. Can the court assume
You know, I
everything?
object to argumentative questions.
I'm asking for a question, I'm asking for an answer.
If she could just be allowed to read the part that she believes to be lewd.
Thank
Go ahead,
you.
now.
I don't think bullying
Just, man, if you could just
makes your
read it.
client innocent. We've been bullied enough.
I'm gonna object to that.
You wanna take a break?
Could you just give me just a minute? I'm sorry, we just been through hell.
Why don't we take
Please,
10 minutes?
please.
I'm just trying to make sure that wherever we are, any of us is nonsense. I gotta know what lewd. I don't see any of them. We're starting in here. I mean, it's obvious. Sit down. I'm just trying to keep that. I'll rephrase the question to make it easier.
Okay, please.
Okay, when we get started here again,
Yes,
we're
sir.
gonna do,
I'll rephrase the question.
I'm sorry.
she's gonna let you finish your question, and you're gonna let her finish her answer.
Yes, Your Honor.
You may not like what she said, but you're gonna let her finish her answer before you ask the next question.
I'm happy with whatever she says. Thank you. I'll do that.
Or do I have to do, because we're in March Madness week, I'll get an arrow up here, and I'll point at your possession, then it's her possession, then it's your possession, and her possession.
No need, I understand. Are you ready, ma'am?
Let us know when you're ready, Miss
Okay,
Marshall.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna rephrase the question for you.
And don't be afraid to speak up, because my hearing doesn't improve.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
That's my tone and my pressure gotta be louder.
I can see your lips moving, I can't hear what you're saying.
Sorry,
That's okay.
In Exhibit 1, which is the October 19 email, please communicate to me in chronological order from top to bottom,
Okay.
the first place you see a lewd sentence, and then continue on and identify every sentence you believe to be lewd from there.
Okay.
Wherever you start from, I'm going to assume that everything above it is not lewd in your opinion. okay?
Okay.
So proceed. I'll let you do.
In April 2019, Amanda Casso informed me that she performed sexual favors in exchange for money with Danny Mercer. I was disgusted by her, so she claimed I was joking. I later discussed the issue with her again, and she stated she had to make money for her trip to Vegas somehow, and continued to play things off as a joke. When I told her I did not believe her, she was joking, she said, "What do you care? Don't worry about it." I'll move on to the next sentence. He accused me of sleeping with her. He had tears in his eyes and seemed extremely jealous. I told him we were just friends, and he repeatedly accused me of lying, as well as making very uncalled for sexual comments about Amanda. A few days later, I spoke with Danny again. He informed me that a harassment complaint had been filed against me by Amanda. I asked him to speak with coworkers and to conduct an investigation. He stated to me, "You're fucked." Excuse my language, I'm just reading. I informed Danny that Amanda had stated she had sex with him for money. He denied it and said, "This is not about me." I was upset and I did not know what to do, and so I reached out to Amanda, begged her to tell the truth. I began to suspect I was being fired for learning of Amanda and Danny's sexual relationship, as I had learned of it just a few weeks prior. He stated that he learned of a sexual relationship, when in fact his only evidence is that she told him she was joking.
Are you reading right now?
No, I was stating that to you. I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to do that.
I thought you were still answering my question.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me get back to that part. I've never been in court before, so
Okay.
I appreciate y'all's patience, because this is new for me to be involved in any court proceedings. He also states, believe that you are already aware of the kind of man Danny is, as he had informed me that you believed him to have had a sexual relationship with former employee Ivana Naratita, who was fired shortly after Danny was accused. That's a lot of sexual allegations when the only proof he even claims to have is that she told him that she clearly stated she was joking and told him it wasn't true. So only in his imagination did that happen, and to make all these sexual